You open your eyes, and for a split second, the world is a blank page. Then the weight of your name, your history, and your to-do list rushes back in to fill the void. You call this waking up. You assume you are simply resuming a story that was paused 8 hours ago. But if you pay close attention to that first fragile moment of return, you might notice a subtle, haunting strangeness. Something feels different. The air in the room, the weight of your own limbs, the very texture of yourself, it doesn't quite match the person who lay down last night. You usually dismiss this feeling as the fog of dreams. But what if that intuition is the most honest thing you felt all day? The truth is, you didn't survive the night unchanged. While you were gone, while the you that thinks and speaks was utterly extinguished, your brain was not resting. It was transforming. It was engaging in a violent, beautiful, and highly intelligent process of dismantling and reconstruction that you were never invited to witness. We tend to view sleep as a biological inconvenience, a necessary pause in the real business of being alive. We treat it as a performance metric to be optimized or a battery to be recharged. But as we look closer at the emerging intersections of neuroscience and philosophy, a different picture begins to form. Sleep isn't the pause, it is the point. It is a nightly pilgrimage into dissolution, a ritualized death we must undergo so that we are coherent enough to face tomorrow. In the next few minutes, we are going to explore what actually happens in those unremembered hours. We will look at the physical shrinking of your brain, the ruthless gardening of your memories, and the overnight therapy that edits your very soul. We aren't looking for sleep hacks or productivity tips. We are here to sit with a single, staggering paradox, that you must lose yourself completely every night just to become who you are. If you've ever sensed that there is a deeper intelligence tending to you in the dark, you were right. Let's start with what your brain is physically doing while you're gone. We have long operated under the myth that the brain simply powers down when we sleep, that it settles into a quiet, idling state like a car in a garage. But the reality is far more dramatic. To understand what is happening to you, we have to look at a biological trade-off that defines the limits of human consciousness. Your brain is an incredibly demanding organ. It consumes 20% of your body's energy while making up only 2% of its weight. This high-octane performance comes at a physical cost, the accumulation of metabolic waste. During the day, as you think, feel, and navigate the world, your neurons are firing constantly, leaving behind a trail of molecular debris, toxic proteins like amyloid beta and tau. The problem is that the brain cannot clean itself while it is thinking. It's as if a grand festival is happening in the streets of a city. As long as the crowds are dancing and the music is playing, the janitors can't get through. Consciousness is simply too noisy and energy-intensive to allow for maintenance. To clean the streets, the festival must end. This is where the transformation begins. For decades, scientists wondered how the brain, which lacks a traditional lymphatic system, managed this waste. The answer was finally revealed through the discovery of the glymphatic system, a hidden plumbing network that only activates when you are gone. Recent human imaging breakthroughs in 2024 have confirmed the mechanics of this process with startling clarity. As you slip into deep, slow-wave sleep, a neurochemical shift occurs. The stress hormone norepinephrine, which keeps you alert during the day, drops to its lowest levels. In response, something almost unbelievable happens. Your neurons actually shrink. They contract, reducing their physical volume by up to 60%. Imagine your brain cells literally pulling back, creating vast new channels between them that didn't exist an hour before. This physical shrinkage opens the floodgates. Cerebrospinal fluid, driven by the rhythmic pulsations of your arteries, begins to surge through these newly opened gaps. It is a literal brainwash, a pressurized rinse that flushes the day's toxins out of your tissue and into the body's waste stream. This is why the brain fog of a sleepless night feels so heavy and physical. It isn't just that you're tired, it's that your brain is quite literally dirty. The janitors were blocked at the gates. The toxic proteins that contribute to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's were left to sit in the streets. When you realize this, the nature of sleep changes. It isn't an inconvenience. It is a vital exchange. You trade your awareness for your health. You agree to stop existing for a few hours so that your physical brain can survive the burden of your mind. But this physical cleaning is just the surface of the night's work. While the fluid is flushing the debris away, a different kind of architect is walking through the halls of your memory, deciding which parts of you are worth keeping. If the physical cleaning of the brain is a necessity, the mental reorganization that follows is a mystery. Every day you are bombarded by a chaotic storm of information: the color of a stranger's coat, the password to a Wi-Fi network, the look on a loved one's face during a disagreement. By the time you lie down at night, your brain is saturated. Your synapses, the connections between your neurons, have been strengthened and stretched by the sheer volume of the day's input. If this continued indefinitely, your mind would reach a state of absolute noise. There would be no room left to learn, no space to grow. To solve this, your brain employs a strategy known as synaptic homeostasis. It is a process of global downscaling. While you are deep in the unremembered territory of non-REM sleep, your brain acts as a ruthless gardener. It looks at the overgrown landscape of the day's connections and begins to prune. But the gardener is not random. It is guided by a profound, hidden intelligence. As you sleep, your hippocampus, the brain's temporary storage site, begins to replay the events of your day. It fires off bursts of electricity called sharp wave ripples, essentially practicing your experiences. This is the moment of selection. Your brain is asking, what is signal and what is noise? Experiences that were tagged with emotional importance or reinforced by repetition are strengthened. They are uploaded from the fragile hippocampus to the permanent storage of the neocortex. Meanwhile, the trillions of other synapses, the ones representing the license plate of the car in front of you or the lunch you've already forgotten, are weakened. They are systematically dialed down until they disappear. This isn't a loss, it is an optimization. By pruning the unimportant, the brain allows the meaningful connections to stand out. It improves the signal-to-noise ratio of your life. Think about your own life for a moment. Think about yesterday. What can you recall with crystalline clarity and what has already begun to dissolve into a gray blur? That fading isn't a failure of your memory. It is the result of a decision made while you were gone. Last night, an intelligence that is technically you, but which you have no conscious access to, walked through your mind and decided which moments were worth keeping. It decided which version of yesterday would be allowed to become part of your permanent self. This raises an unsettling question of agency. We like to think of ourselves as the author of our story, but the author is asleep when the editing happens. You are not the one choosing what to remember. You are not the one deciding which lessons to integrate and which to discard. Something else is doing the gardening. If your identity is built on the foundation of your memories, and those memories are being curated, edited, and deleted without your consent, then who is the you that wakes up? You are not a stable, continuous entity. You are more like a ship being rebuilt plank by plank in the middle of the night. You are a curated process, a work in progress that is never quite the same 2 days in a row. It is a humbling realization. Your conscious mind is the passenger, not the driver. But it isn't just facts and figures being reorganized in the dark. As the gardener finishes the pruning, the night shifts. The neurochemistry of your brain changes once again, and you enter a state where your very feelings are taken apart and put back together. As the night deepens, the landscape of your transformation shifts from the logical to the visceral. You enter REM sleep, the stage of rapid eye movements and vivid cinematic dreams. This is often the part of sleep we find the most baffling, but it is perhaps where the most intimate work is done. It is here that your brain performs a kind of overnight therapy, healing wounds you didn't even realize were open. To understand this, we have to look at a unique neurochemical miracle that happens only during REM. In this state, your brain completely suppresses the production of norepinephrine, the chemical of stress, anxiety, and the fight or flight response. It is the only time in your entire life when your brain is totally free of this stress molecule. At the same time, the structures responsible for emotion and memory, the amygdala and the hippocampus, become highly active. This creates a safe house for the mind. Your brain begins to reactivate the emotional memories of your day or even your distant past, but it does so in a neurochemically calm environment. You are re-experiencing the sting of an argument, the weight of a loss, or the heat of an embarrassment, but without the accompanying rush of stress hormones. This process is called emotion depotentiation. It is the act of stripping the emotional charge away from the factual information. Your brain is essentially saying, keep the lesson, but let go of the pain. Think of a memory from 5 years ago that once felt like an open wound. You still remember what happened, but the burning intensity, the physical ache in your chest, has likely softened into a dull, manageable reflection. That change didn't just happen because time passed, it happened because you slept. You have undergone thousands of sessions of REM therapy, each one slowly uncoupling the event from the visceral trauma. We see the profound importance of this process most clearly when it fails. In cases of PTSD, this emotional stripping doesn't occur. Because of fragmented sleep, the brain is unable to process the memory in a stress-free environment. Every time the person remembers the trauma, it arrives with the full, original force of the stress response. The memory remains hot. It hasn't been metabolized. When you realize this, sleep becomes something much more than a physical necessity. It is a gift of mercy. Each night, you are being emotionally edited so that you are not destroyed by the weight of your own experiences. You are being healed from the day's frictions without having to say a word or spend a cent. But this brings us back to our central mystery. If your emotional relationship to your own past is being rewritten while you are unconscious, who is the real you? Is it the person who felt the raw, unfiltered emotion at 2 p.m.? Or is it the person who wakes up at 7 a.m. with that emotion metabolized and smoothed over? We've covered the physical cleaning, the mental pruning, and the emotional healing. But we are left standing at the edge of the deepest layer of all. If all this work, the literal construction of your character, happens without your conscious input, then what is the nature of the intelligence that stays awake while you are gone? We have followed the trail from the microscopic shrinkage of cells to the complex rewriting of your emotional history. But here, in the heart of the night, we encounter a question that science can map but cannot fully answer. Who is directing this? Think about the sheer scale of the coordination required. While you are gone, something is timing the flow of cerebrospinal fluid, deciding which synaptic connections to dissolve, and carefully stripping the stress from your memories. Your conscious mind, the part of you that identifies as I, the part that makes lists and worries about the future, is completely offline. Your ego has dissolved. You have no agency, no willpower, and no memory of the work being done. And yet, the work is done with a precision that far exceeds anything you could accomplish while awake. In our modern world, we are obsessed with the idea of conscious self-management. We believe that if we just think harder, meditate longer, or optimize our routines more strictly, we can fix ourselves. We treat our minds like machines that we must manually operate. But sleep reveals a staggering, counterintuitive truth. Your most profound transformation requires your absence. The you that you are trying so hard to improve is actually an obstacle to the intelligence that knows how to rebuild you. Whether we call this unconscious processing, evolutionary intelligence, or the wisdom of the body, the phenomenon remains the same. You are being tended to by something larger than your awareness. There is an intelligence operating beneath the surface of your thoughts that is more committed to your coherence than you are. It doesn't need your advice, it doesn't need your permission, it only needs your surrender. Every night, you perform an act of faith more profound than any spiritual ritual. You lie down and allow yourself to be dismantled. You trust that the darkness isn't a void but a workshop. You let go of the self with the quiet confidence that you will be put back together by morning. This reframes the very nature of what it means to be human. Perhaps we are not a solid thing that moves through time, but a dynamic, recurring pattern. We are like a flame that is extinguished every night and relit every morning. The miracle is not that we stay the same, but that the pattern is so carefully reconstructed that we feel continuous. In the silence of deep sleep, the boundaries between you and the rest of the universe grow thin. You are no longer a manager, a worker, or a name. You are simply life, undergoing maintenance. This intelligent darkness is not something to fear. It is the ground of your being. It is the silent architect who knows exactly which parts of your story need to be pruned so that the truth of who you are can breathe. When you stop fighting for control, you realize that you aren't just sleeping, you are being slept. You are the clay, and something wiser than you is the sculptor. This shift, from the anxiety of self-maintenance to the peace of intelligent surrender, is the deepest secret sleep has to offer. It is the realization that you are being cared for in ways you will never witness. But if this is the sacred work of the night, how do we live our days in a way that honors it? How do we turn our rest from a biological chore into a practice of reverence? Once you see sleep as the sacred reconstruction, the way you approach your bed begins to change. We have been taught to view sleep hygiene as a set of chores, another list of things to get right so we can perform better tomorrow. But when you understand the gravity of what is happening in the dark, these practices shift from optimization to reverence. You aren't hacking your brain, you are creating the conditions for a miracle. You cannot consciously force your neurons to shrink or your synapses to prune. You cannot manually strip the emotion from a painful memory. These are autonomous gifts. Your only job is to provide the sanctuary where this intelligence can work. This means honoring the rhythm that the architect requires. When we keep our sleep and wake times consistent, we aren't just following a schedule, we are signaling to the body that it is safe to begin the dismantling. We are aligning our pulse with the ancient circadian clock that has governed life for billions of years. When we cool our rooms and dim the lights, we are supporting the physical mechanics of the glymphatic flow. We are clearing the way for the fluid that cleanses our minds. And when we choose to avoid the substances that numb us, the alcohol that clogs the channels, we are making a choice to stay present for our own healing. We are saying, I trust the natural process more than the chemical shortcut. Even something as simple as sleeping on your side becomes an act of cooperation, a physical posture that aids the gravity of the cleansing surge. In our modern era, we have colonized the night with screens and artificial light. We have turned the unremembered hours into a resource to be mined. We treat exhaustion as a badge of honor and sleep as a failure of productivity. But this exploration suggests the opposite. The most productive thing you will do today is not found in your inbox or your morning routine. It is the moment you close your eyes and agree to vanish. Tonight, as you lie down, try to feel the weight of this transition. Don't just go to sleep. Recognize that you are entering a state of active, intelligent surrender. You are handing over the keys to the city. Look at your bed not as a piece of furniture, but as an altar of transformation. By shifting your perspective from "I need to rest" to "I am surrendering to my own rebirth," you turn a biological necessity into a daily practice of faith. You're acknowledging that you don't have to carry the burden of holding yourself together at all times. You are giving yourself permission to be clay. And as the world outside goes quiet and the internal festival of your consciousness begins to wind down, you can rest in the knowledge that you aren't being left alone. You are being tended to, and when you wake tomorrow, it won't be as the person who fell asleep, but as someone subtly, carefully, and beautifully made new. We return now to that first fragile moment of waking. The blank page, the split second before your name and your history rush back in to claim you. When you open your eyes tomorrow, notice that silence. Don't rush to fill it. For a heartbeat, stay in the recognition that you have just returned from a journey you will never remember, but which has changed you nonetheless. You are not just resuming a story, you are stepping into a reconstructed version of it. We began by asking how the dissolution of the self could be the prerequisite for its coherence. We found the answer in the quiet work of the night. You are coherent today because you were brave enough to be dismantled last night. You are you because you allowed the gardener to prune the noise, the janitor to flush the waste, and the therapist to heal the sting. Before you go back into the noise of the day, I invite you to leave a mark of your own presence here. This channel is a gathering place for those who prefer the deep water to the surface. If this exploration of the unremembered has shifted something in you, please consider subscribing. Sleep is not an interruption of your life. It is the process that makes your life possible. It is the daily proof that you are not a thing to be maintained, but a process to be trusted. Tonight, when the lights go out, remember that you aren't just losing consciousness. You are trusting yourself to the unremembered. Rest in that trust. Fall into that darkness with gratitude. Because every morning you wake up is not just a biological certainty, it is a miracle of reassembly. You are being rebuilt in the dark with a love and a precision you'll never see, so that you can be worthy of the dawn.